For almost all of human history, we lived in these small, scattered groups. But today, our natural habitat is the city. You could say it's humanity's greatest invention. It's the engine of our culture, our economy, and yeah, our future. This is its story.
So, get this, more than half of us, half of all people on Earth, now live in an urban area. That's just a wild statistic. We build them, we live in them, we dream in them, but what really makes a city a city? Is it just a bunch of buildings and people packed together, or is it something more? That's the big question we're going to dig into.
To figure that out, let's take a quick trip way back in time. This, of course, is the Parthenon in Athens. For the ancient Greeks, the city, the polis, it wasn't just a place. It was an idea. It was the heart of democracy, philosophy, and who you were as a citizen.
Now, let's fast forward a couple thousand years and bam, everything changes. The Industrial Revolution completely flipped the script. Cities became these massive engines of production. They were loud, crowded, smoky places defined by factories and labor. A totally different beast.
And that journey brings us to today. This is Shanghai. The modern metropolis is this sprawling global hub for, well, everything. Finance, tech, culture, all defined by its unbelievable scale. So you see the evolution, right? From a civic idea to an industrial workhorse to a global megacity. The shape has changed, but the core function is still there.
So to really understand what a city is, we have to go back. All the way back to the beginning. How did we make that incredible leap from being nomads to building permanent communities?
Well, the whole thing really hinges on one massive game changer, the agricultural revolution. The second we figured out how to farm, we didn't have to wander around for food anymore. We could stay put. And that led to the very first settlements, which, over thousands of years, slowly grew into the first real cities, and eventually into massive empires.
But as these little settlements got bigger, you needed more than just food and shelter to hold everyone together. You needed a shared story, a common identity. Think about the legend of Romulus and Remus, raised by a wolf to found Rome. These kinds of powerful founding myths gave people a real sense of belonging.
So how on earth do you manage thousands of people living side by side? You need new tools. And this little tablet represents one of the most important urban inventions ever, writing. All of a sudden, you could write down laws, you could track taxes, you could manage food supplies. Writing was basically the original operating system for complex society. So what are the essential jobs of a city? Well, it turns out that no matter where you are or what time period you're in, cities tend to perform the same core functions for civilization. Think of these as their basic building blocks. First and foremost, a city is a place for power. It's where authority is concentrated and where decisions are made that affect everyone.
And it doesn't matter if it's an ancient king holding court or a modern parliament debating a new law. Cities are where the rules get made. They are centers of government, of control, and of administration for the entire region around them. Next up, a force that has literally shaped city skylines for thousands of years: faith. Cities have always been these incredibly powerful spiritual magnets.
And you can really see that magnetic pull in action right here. Mecca is a city defined by its religious purpose, drawing millions of people from all over the world. Great temples, soaring cathedrals, massive mosques. They're so often the physical and spiritual heart of a city, dominating the whole landscape.
Cities are also just giant marketplaces. They're hubs in a huge network, places where goods, money, and, just as important, new ideas are constantly being exchanged. This has been true since the very beginning. Of course, the technology has changed almost beyond recognition. We've gone from slow-moving camel caravans to these absolutely colossal container ships. But the core principle, it's exactly the same. Cities thrive when they connect with other cities.
So when you concentrate all that power and faith and wealth into one single spot, you've got to protect it, right? So defense has always been a primary job for any city.
For most of history, the answer was obvious. Build a wall. Look at the incredible fortifications of a place like Carcassonne. Those walls weren't just for security, they defined the city's limits. They drew a clear line between us and them. And walls still serve that purpose today, though sometimes they represent deep division more than just security.
Okay, let's jump to the city as we know it today. The modern metropolis is a place of incredible energy and opportunity, but it also comes with immense pressure and some really big challenges.
Nothing really captures the frantic pace of modern urban life like transportation. On the left, you've got a 19th century traffic jam with horses, and on the right, a sleek, modern monorail. We're constantly trying to move more people faster and faster. The modern city is just a place of perpetual motion.
And this brings us to what you could call the urban paradox. The very same thing that makes cities so amazing, cramming millions of people and their ambitions into one dense space, is also what creates our biggest problems. From pollution to inequality, the promise and the pressure are just two sides of the same coin.
So where does that leave us? What's the future hold for our planet of cities? Let's take a look.
But before we look forward, it's worth remembering that cities are not guaranteed to last forever. This is Petra, a magnificent city that once thrived in the middle of the desert. And today, it's a ghost town. It's a powerful reminder that even the greatest cities can fade away.
But the story of the city is also one of constant reinvention. We're always imagining new futures, developing new technologies, like this idea for a futuristic vehicle, to solve urban problems and just make our lives better. The city is always a work in progress. When you boil it all down, the city is humanity's most ambitious, ongoing project. It reflects who we are, our absolute best ideas, and our deepest flaws. It's never really finished, which leaves us with the final and most important question. What do we build next?